October 7, 1939, came shortly after the fall of Poland, with Nazi Germany consolidating its hold on the newly acquired territories. Following the victory, Hitler had extended a peace proposal to Britain and France, aiming to halt further conflict. However, this offer was met with growing resistance from the Allies, signaling their resolve to continue the war. Additionally, Nazi administrative efforts were beginning to take shape, particularly around the brutal restructuring of Polish society under occupation. Military events. German consolidation in Poland. With the Polish military largely subdued after the surrender at Kock on October 6, 1939, German forces were focused on securing control over the entire region. Military patrols were active, ensuring that no remaining resistance forces could organize further insurrections. The Wehrmacht was now tasked with occupying cities and enforcing martial law across the western portion of Poland. Additionally, German units began to focus on reorganizing Polish infrastructure to serve the war economy, particularly the extraction of resources and mobilization of the workforce into forced labor. Although there were no major military battles reported on October 7, German forces were busy solidifying their control over occupied territory, establishing new military garrisons, and positioning themselves for future military actions on the Western Front. Diplomatic and geopolitical developments. Rejection of Hitler's peace proposal. On the diplomatic front, the most significant development of the day was the formal rejection of Adolf Hitler's peace offer by French Prime Minister Édouard Daladier. On October 7, Daladier delivered a national broadcast in which he denounced Hitler's proposals, affirming that France would continue fighting until there were guaranteed security arrangements in Europe. This decisive rejection of peace talks set the stage for continued hostilities, as both France and Britain rejected the notion of accepting Hitler's territorial gains without further resistance. Simultaneously, in the Baltic region, the Soviet Union continued to extend its influence, securing agreements to station troops in the newly subjugated territories of Latvia and Estonia. These moves were part of the broader Soviet strategy to gain control over Eastern Europe, which had been facilitated by the Molotov-Ribbentrop Pact signed with Germany in August 1939. International reactions and media coverage. The international press widely covered Daladier's rejection of Hitler's peace offer. In Britain, The Times highlighted the French resolve to resist Hitler's overtures, calling it a necessary stand to prevent further Nazi aggression across Europe. French newspapers similarly praised Daladier's firm stance, noting that any negotiation with Hitler would legitimize the violent annexation of Poland. In Germany, state-controlled media reacted to Daladier's speech with disdain, accusing the French government of ignoring a reasonable offer of peace. Hitler's regime framed the rejection as further evidence of Allied hostility, using it to rally public support for the war effort. In the United States, where public opinion was still predominantly isolationist, major newspapers such as the New York Times reported on the rejection of Hitler's peace plan with a sense of inevitability. Many commentators noted that the war in Europe was likely to escalate, and the failure of peace efforts made American involvement, though distant, increasingly probable. Projections. The impact of October 7th on the war's future. The events of October 7, 1939, solidified the fact that the conflict in Europe was far from over. The rejection of Hitler's peace offer by France indicated that Britain and France were fully committed to defeating Nazi Germany, even if it meant a prolonged war. With Poland fully occupied and resistance squashed, both Nazi Germany and the Soviet Union had secured their gains in Eastern Europe. The rejection of peace would soon lead to Hitler's focus shifting westward, with plans for further expansion, particularly into France and the Low Countries. For the broader war, this date marked the clear beginning of the next phase, one that would see Europe plunged into deeper conflict, and with it, the eventual involvement of more countries across the globe.